Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for watching. My name is Tony, aka Big Bad Belgium. Sorry about that. The nickname came from a Scottish friend of mine. Um, yeah, one thing led to another, and I needed a name for my YouTube channel, so why not? Anyhow, as you might have noticed, I am not by nature English. This is my second language, so I might have some trouble finding the right words or pronunciations might be off. I do apologize for that. Hopefully, you will still get the message. Couple of disclaimers. A few things you'll see in this world of mine. This is a 600-hour save, of which I have now about 150 hours of my trains running left and right. I've got about 30 trains running, maybe more. Actually haven't counted them, to be honest. Whole bunch of stations, and the trains are happily darting everywhere except for over there on that little roundabout. You've got a train road there going to the right into that cave. That's a brand new line, and it's not fine-tuned yet. I've been having issues while recording, so we'll see how it goes, whether or not it shows up or not. Um, Couple of people might have noticed that digger is not mine by any means. I don't remember the guy that built it now, but it's a blueprint. Decided it was so good, decided to put it in my world. Just absolute masterpiece. Check it out if you have a second. You won't be disappointed. Uh, the reason why we'll hear you've read the titles is trains. Now, you might think, and I get it, there's a whole bunch of videos on trains and signalings, and yet despite that, I still see a lot of people struggling with signals and trains to the point where they simply don't even use trains at all in Satisfactory, and I do find that, I mean, it's a bit sad. So I decided, I must admit, against better judgment, I decided let's quickly make a video. This, I think, is attempt number 46 or something. I don't know, I lost count. I have no editing software. I'm doing everything brand spanking new. So yeah. Anyhow, bear with me. Paw signals, or train signals, or train railroads in that aspect, or in that part in this game, are pretty straightforward. You can obviously have them like I have here, dual way on a single line. So you've got one line dedicated to go one way, the other line dedicated to go the other way. As long as you don't have any crossings, you can easily just have block signals everywhere to divide it into pieces, so your trains can go onto the same railway at the same time. The problem exists for most people as soon as you have intersection. As soon as two railways cross each other, that's where the problem hits. Obviously, once you start using crossings, once you start having the possibility of two trains colliding into each other, you need to have a pod signal. Now, I'm going to try to explain you this maybe in a, hopefully, it's not maybe, hopefully in a way that for the people that still don't get it, they get it. How I look at pod signals, they're guardians, right? So that pod signal, or sorry, that pod signal, that pod signal, and that pod signal are guarding. Oh, I haven't selected it. Oh my god. We're 3 minutes in and I'm already struggling to make this work. Fabulous. So these three pod signals are guarding this intersection. What they do is they actually make sure the trains don't collide. Makes sense, right? How they do that is simply they make a they make a first come first serve waiting list, which means as the first train to enter the first train to communicate with the pod signals, I gotta put this correctly, the first train to communicate with the pod signals gets priority 1. Second train, number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Makes sense. Because they do this between the three of them, at any given time, they control the flow of traffic through their crossings that they're guarding, and make sure that nothing collides. What I mean is, if a train comes from the digger, go up the hill, and needs to go down the spiral here, and at the same time a train comes from the spiral and needs to go to the left, they will collide on those two pieces, right? As soon as the pod signals, as soon as the trains get to the pod signals and they start talking to these pod signals, these three pod signals will start communicating with each other and go, okay, listen, train coming from the spiral is number one, so he gets to cross this section first, and then the one coming from the digger can go in and go down the spiral. That's how it works. If two trains, if one needs to come from the spiral and needs to go to the right, and the other one comes from the right and goes straight, they will not cross each other because the spiral coming down and going right does not intersect with the digger going straight at all. The pod signals won't even talk to each other. They don't have to because there's no possibility of crashing into each other. They only talk to each other when there's a possibility of two trains colliding into each other. Then they'll decide who is number one, who is number two, who needs to wait, who doesn't need to wait. Now, all of this happens, and this is actually something I don't notice a lot in any YouTube video. All this happens on the path of railway between your last block signal and your path signal. So that's my last block signal, right? Block, hold this piece of railway until it hits that path signal. That is where the magic happens. As soon as my train passes that block signal, it'll start communicating to the path signal and to these other three going, I need to go, let's say, straight to the digger. Can I go? And what number am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me some. Um, that train that just came from the spiral, as soon as he passes that block signal, he gets all that and starts talking to the pass signal as soon as he passes that block signal, right? Same for that one. There's a block signal all the way down there to this pod signal. So these three pieces of railroad, that's where the magic happens. That's the spot where your train starts to talking, starts communicating with the pod signal, communicating with the guardians, asking them, listen, I need to go that direction because you as a player have already encoded your trains to go from station A to B and C to D or whatever. Um, the pod signal just makes it so one train potentially crossing, well, one train crossing the other train won't collide into each other. By giving that waiting list, they will force a train to slow down, if needs be, come to a full stop at the pod signal, in front of the pod signal, so the intersection stays clear for the other one that has priority over him to wait and go. If you have a lot of trains, going around a roundabout or around a certain intersection, you will notice a train sitting and waiting at a pod signal for quite some time. It's normal, it just has to wait its turn. Okay, so how do you build this? It's pretty straightforward. The golden rule is exactly how you see in front of you. You've got your intersection, you put a pod signal before your intersection and a block signal on the outside, on the exit of your um, intersection, and this for every direction. So your train can come from on the spiral, so from the spiral to the crossing, you need a pod signal. You've got from the digger to the crossing, I've got a pod signal, and I can come from the factory to the crossing. I've got a pod signal. Obviously, I can go from my factory to my digger, so I need a block signal on the exit of, behind my crossing. I can can go from my factory to my spiral. So I need a block signal going towards, after my crossing, and then obviously I can go from my spiral to my factory, and I need a block signal there. It's as simple as that. Literally, golden rule. You've probably heard it, read it, might not have been sure what it is, but this is literally it. Now, the trick is this can be expanded upon. This can be altered if needs be. I'm quickly looking around here and seeing where I have done this. Okay, so let's take this spiral. The spiral is a single line. All of a sudden, we've got a path signal because I have an intersection here. Path signal leading into the intersection. So, gotta remember, this whole bit is an intersection. It might look complicated, but that is your intersection. So path signal in front of it coming from the roundabout or coming from the spiral, path signal coming from the pillar there, and a path signal coming from the rock. Simple. Okay. As you might notice, on the right side I've got my block signal to shut it all off. On there I've got my block signal going into the spiral to shut it all off, but I don't have a block signal there. Why is that? Now, you don't have to have a block signal. Well, you do, but you don't have to have it straight after your intersection. The reason why that path signal is there is because up ahead, as you can see, that is a single line railway with dual traffic. So traffic goes and comes back off the same line. Obviously, I could have made it a dual line and probably saved myself a lot of problems, but hey ho, I mean, that's the reason why you play this game, right? To push the boundaries. So, as you can just saw, that train came from that roundabout, zooped up onto the spiral, which means that piece of railway needs to stay clear. If a train comes down the spiral, I want it to wait there and potentially have a train that comes from the pillar and have the train the opportunity to go onto the spiral without that train that's coming down the spiral, that's waiting for that roundabout road to be free. I want him to wait there, so the train coming from the spiral can go up onto the spiral and can go do his thing. If that would have been a block signal, if that would have been a block signal, my train would have looked at this intersection. Boom. It would have seen this intersection as free because, yes, there was a train coming down there, but that wouldn't have been an issue. And it would have waited on this path signal for the road to be free, as that train's actually now doing. But that's what I want it to be. I want that train to wait there, so this intersection stays free for potential trains coming from the pillar to be able to go either up the spiral or straight, depending on. Now, this is a bit of a specific crossing, so I'm not 100% sure this is, clear, but while we are here, any single line railway, oh, yeah, you just saw the lights go green, which means that the trains that were down there just got the green light. And looking at the green light, that means that train's coming and it's going into that station, because that line's green. They're actually going, yep, there we go. See, roundabout gets managed by the path signals, two trains coming at the same time. The train behind us had to go to the right. It slowed down, giving the train coming from the tunnel to give it the time to go out the tunnel onto the roundabout. And as soon as their paths this is the whole assisting as a non-English person sometimes is confusing or complicated to do. I don't know what it is, but it's noticeable. As soon as there's no more risk at colliding, the trains accelerate and are on their merry way. I have a lot of single track, as you can see. So, and this is the difficult part, because all of this is one path. All of this, all the way from where we started that path coming from down the spiral, all of this entire piece to the right and to where that new factory is one path, but forward up into that hill is one path, and the path here to the left stops at this train station. Um, and because of that new factory over there, I sometimes get issues, but for the moment it's okay. I gotta check it out. But single line dual traffic needs to be controlled by pod signals. You cannot use block signals. Just keep that in mind, because a block signal cuts it into pieces, and it allows the train to come from the bottom and from the top without any problems, because there's only one train on that block signal in that case, and that block signal, and they'll just deadlock. What you want to do is you want to put a pause signal leading into your single line. You want to put a block signal all the way on the outside, on the exit of your single line, and then on that side you want to put a pause signal leading into the other direction, and a block signal on your outside. So both ins and outs have a path and a block signal, and your entire length of railway will be controlled. And you will have exactly what I have here. You've got a single line, well, a double line going into a single line, and you can mess about as soon as you start understanding how they work. For me, it's clear, and I mean, I get it, and that is, I think, the most difficult part of trying to explain stuff like this on a YouTube video. I understand exactly what I want to say, but it's very difficult to get it over, get the message over. I think that's what I was looking for, but I suggest, if you start fiddling with trains after this video, start with the basics. Start with your pause signal in, block signal out, and then look at your crossing. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't start doing this. I've seen this done. I think, the whole block signal in crossings out, people start to think that every single crossing between two railways they need to put a pause signal, and as you can already see, there's Christmas trolleys going up here. You don't need to do that. You need to look at your entire crossing and basically realize that the pause signal will force a train to stop if the crossing isn't free, and then you gotta decide, where do I want my train to stop, and that's where you put your pause signal. In this case, perfect example, I've got a coal station over there. I've got multiple trains going into that coal station, but it's a pull-push system. So if a train is in there, I want the next train to sit here and wait, so the other train can come out and either go down or can go left and on to that roundabout. And as soon as that line is free, this entire piece of this path, so that is a piece of the path, and it leads all the way into that station. As soon as that line is free, then the other one will start going. Now, side note, you cannot have pod signals leading into your train stations. You'll get an error. Simple. Just, yeah, you can't have them. So, which means that every single station, always, before your station, always put a block signal. Why is my block signal and my pod signal so far away? It's because of the push-pull system. What you could do is you could put a second train station there. Same thing. I don't. I decide to go train station and freight station, but still have a train, and then a carry, and then another train. Which means if that train is coming into the station and loading, the other train is sticking out, obviously. I mean, I know it makes sense. See, that actually is perfect. Whoops, sorry about that. I forgot that I had flight on, and oh, it is still on. Why am I no longer flying? Oh, there we go. I'm new to this whole thing here. Oh, I just noticed a problem, because that one perfectly stopped. Oh, I know what it is. This one came from all the way down, and it was already on the line, and I'm not sure if I said it in this video because I've done this video so many times, but pod signals don't work when you're manually driving. This was a manual drive. I manually placed it, so that train didn't know this was here, so it just kept on going. That train knew it because the pod signal only started registering here, and my train was already there before he started to communicate with that pod signal. This one was already on the road. That's basically it. If I just remove that, there we go. Now, yep, it's the same exact thing that I wanted to show you. The reason why this is further away from my station is I want that locomotive to be inside of that new pod signal. It needs to be able to see the pod signal. If I would have put that there, imagine your train driver being in that locomotive, it wouldn't see the pod signal now, would it? Because the pod signal's behind him, so he can't go out, and your train will just sit there and wait and be blocked. So keep that in mind if you want to use pull push system. Make sure your trains are actually fully inside your or fully able to see your pod signals or block signals or whatever you want to call it. That is, I'm quickly looking at my cheat sheet here for a second, but I think I've actually covered it all. I'm trying to do this a bit more fluently, but I might have gone a bit too fluent now, so we will see. Roundabouts are actually as easy as this. You put a pod signal before your first entrance onto the roundabout, pod signal before your first entrance onto the roundabout, pod signal, well, it would be that one, pod signal before your first entrance onto the roundabout, and then onto on your roundabout itself, nothing but pod signals. You don't have to have as many as I have here. The reason why I do is because I have noticed if you do it, the pod signals work the same way a block signal does. It allows a train, it allows multiple trains to go onto your roundabout at any given time, because the pieces are smaller. Your flow of your trains is going to be much smoother than if I was to remove, let's say, that one and oh, come on, that one and you know what I mean. Anyway, yep. I hope this sort of makes sense. I mean, it's always the same rule. You got a pod signal before your intersection, and you got a well, block signal behind your intersection. Obviously, this isn't a block signal. Why? Because if I was to put a block signal here, my train would go up here, and he would just look at that piece, and that would be it. And you would have deadlock. So I want single track, dual way. I want it controlled from here. Well, sorry, from there. And I'm actually lying. Sorry, my bad. This is it's getting too late. I maybe should have stopped this. If a train comes from the coal station, that's a coal station. If a train comes from here and it goes onto the roundabout, and let's assume it needs to go down there. If a train there's another roundabout there and a waiting point. If a train is on that waiting point first, if it gets number 1 and this train gets number 2, this train is going to sit and wait right here until that train that's coming up the hill clears, let me quickly see here, clears that track signal. As soon as he passes this signal, that train will start going and be on his merry way. And that is I think the most complicated part when you start using pod signals extensively is to figure out where do I want my trains to stop, or what do I really want to do, where do I want them to go. And that's where people start getting it. They start getting the whole train in, train out, path in, path out thing, but then they start hitting these kind of bumps. Obviously, you only have this issue with a dual track lane. If you were to pull 2 tracks here, and then you wouldn't have that issue. I just saw, I don't know if you've noticed this, but all these lights just went green. And if you look, that went green as well, and that, which means that a train is coming out of the red forest. See if I can go high enough, maybe we can spot it. I have a single line going from the red forest. I try to use scenery a lot, and it goes all the way down. See, there's another green light there. So that train, there it is. So that train has reserved as soon as it leaves. There's a station right there somewhere. I can't find a station now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a station somewhere there. And as soon as it leaves that station, it reserves that entire piece of railway. And there she is. And it comes onto the roundabout, and it's already reserved because all of this is a pause signal. It's already reserved the path going down underneath the mountain and onto that roundabout. Any train coming from the other side is going to be at the roundabout waiting on that piece of railroad there next to the train station. So it's just going to sit there. If there's a train sitting there, my train that's just going up to the roundabout will go through the station and onto the roundabout and be on its merry way. If there's nothing, it'll just go straight. Okay, anyway, ignore that. I don't know what that is. I need to tear that down at some point. I hope you have learned something new and hopefully are now able to start using trains. If not, at least I gave it my best shot. Thanks for watching, and I bid you farewell. Have a pleasant evening and see you around. Bye bye.